I never imagined that my daughter's 10th birthday party would become a spectacle that the entire neighborhood would talk about for months, or that it would end with someone being led away in handcuffs. But that's exactly how last Saturday at Lakeview Park unfolded. What began as a perfect family celebration spiraled into absolute chaos. The moment the most notorious HOA president in Oakwood Estates decided that the picnic table we had reserved and already decorated was suddenly the one she wanted for her lunch meeting. I had arrived early that morning, around 8 a.m., holding the official reservation permit we had booked through the city. The lakeside spot was ideal, shaded by tall oak trees, close enough to the water to enjoy the breeze, and perfectly set away from the crowded playground area. My wife and I spent nearly an hour setting up, bright balloons tied to each post, a large Happy 10th Birthday Emma banner hanging proudly across the front, carefully arranged food tables, and our permit displayed exactly where the city required. Donovan family, 11B, a.m. to 3:00 p.m. Everything was picture perfect for Emma's big milestone birthday, and when her friends started arriving, her smile lit up every corner of the park. By 11:30, the kids were running around laughing, playing tag and lawn games, while the parents chatted and helped themselves to snacks. Emma was showing off her brand new science kit, talking excitedly about the experiments she wanted to do. That's when I saw her, Karen Winters, strutting across the grass like she was the queen of the lake. Designer sunglasses perched on her nose despite the cloudy sky. Her infamous clipboard gripped tight against her chest, and that all-too-familiar expression of judgment sharpening her features. She was known everywhere in Oakwood Estates for treating the HOA like her personal empire. Policing garbage cans and mailbox colors like the fate of the universe depended on them. "Excuse me," she announced loudly, tapping her manicured nails against her clipboard as if summoning attention by legal decree. Conversation stopped. I stepped forward, forcing politeness into my voice. "Hi, Karen, is there something you need?" She glanced at me like I was an inconvenience. "There's been a revision to the park seating assignments," she declared, dripping with authority she absolutely did not have. "This table has been reassigned. You'll have to move your party to the tables near the playground." I stared in disbelief. "Reassigned by who? We have a reservation permit right here." I pointed to it, visible and clearly marked. Without hesitation, she peeled it off the table and studied it with exaggerated scrutiny. "This isn't valid for this specific table," she sniffed. "The HOA has implemented new guidelines for premium lakefront seating. Perhaps you didn't receive the email?" My wife walked over, concern tightening her voice. Emma stood behind her, watching anxiously. "This is a public park," I explained, trying to remain calm. "The HOA doesn't control city reservations." Karen was already peeling down our decorations, setting them on the ground like trash. "Someone should have informed you," she shrugged. "This area is now reserved for senior HOA members during peak hours," she gestured to another woman approaching. With grocery bag, her friend Debbie, clearly planning to hijack our space for a community improvements lunch meeting. I couldn't believe this insanity. "Karen, we booked this weeks ago. There are plenty of empty tables." She dismissively sipped her latte. "Those don't have the proper view." Then, as if she owned everything she touched, she sat at the head of the table and began unpacking her food. Several parents were now watching from nearby, concern shifting into anger. Emma pulled on my arm, tears pooling in her eyes. "Dad, is she taking away my birthday?" That was the moment something inside me snapped. Still, I held my voice steady. My friend Mike stepped forward. "I'm calling the police," he said loudly. Karen rolled her eyes. "Call whoever you want. The HOA has jurisdiction here, not the police." She actually said that. While Mike called 911, I tried to salvage the celebration by distracting the kids. My wife soothed Emma, promising everything would be okay. 20 frustrating minutes passed before 2 officers arrived. Suddenly, Karen transformed, smiling as if she were the one who requested help. "Officers, thank you for coming. I'm Karen Winters, HOA president." The taller officer, Martinez, listened carefully as I explained how we had reserved the table through the city. Karen cut me off again, talking about new guidelines and notice emails. Waving her clipboard like it was a badge, Officer Martinez stopped her mid-sentence. Ma'am, this is a city park. The only valid authority here is the city. Reservation system. He examined our permit. This family has full rights to this table during the listed hours. Karen's posture wilted for the first time. Well, perhaps there's been jurisdictional confusion. The HOA board voted. Officer Ramirez stepped in. Your jurisdiction ends at your neighborhood boundary. City property is not governed by the HOA. A parent stepped forward, phone in hand. I have video of her tearing down the decorations and making the birthday girl cry. The officers watched the footage. Irrefutable evidence that Karen had knowingly interfered with a lawful reservation. Karen panicked. I didn't see any decorations. The table was unoccupied. Parents around us contradicted her with no hesitation. Officer Ramirez's tone hardened. Interfering with a paid reservation is theft of services, harassing a family and causing a public disturbance. That's also a chargeable offense. Karen's confidence shattered. This is absurd. I'm the HOA president, she screeched. Officer Martinez asked a final question. Do you have any official document from the city granting the HOA park authority? She shuffled papers, but nothing. Because none exists, he finished. Please gather your belongings. You are being placed under arrest. Gasps erupted around the park as Officer Ramirez pulled out the cuffs. Karen's face went white. You can't do this! Do you know who I am? I'll sue the city! I was protecting community standards. She screamed all the way to the cruiser, outraged that her imaginary power had consequences. When she was finally taken away, Officer Martinez knelt beside Emma, speaking gently. You're free to keep celebrating. Happy birthday. The parents helped us restore the decorations, rehung the banner, straightened the balloons. Emma's smile returned, brighter than before, now with the kind of story most kids never get on their birthdays. And believe me, every single kid thought it was the coolest day ever. The next morning, the district attorney called. They were taking Karen's false authority very seriously. Criminal trespass, harassment, and disorderly conduct. Reporters picked up the video later that week, and soon the story was everywhere. Digging into Karen's past, journalists uncovered that she had spent years pretending the HOA had power beyond its borders, intimidating people, threatening fines, even trying to stop families from picnicking in public spaces. The Oakwood Estates Board, horrified at the backlash, held an emergency vote. Karen was removed as president effective immediately. They released a public statement distancing themselves from her behavior, clarifying that they never authorized her actions outside the neighborhood. Her downfall was swift and brutal. When her case reached the judge, he didn't buy her tears or excuses. Her sentence, 60 days in jail, suspended, 1 year of probation, $1,000 fine, and 200 hours of community service, specifically at city parks. And to top it off, a 5-year ban from serving on any HOA board. Her reputation, the one she clung to, shattered right there in the courtroom. She sobbed that she had only tried to preserve community standards, but no one believed for a second that it was anything more than a power trip gone horribly wrong. In the end, Emma got one of the most unforgettable birthdays of all time. Karen finally faced the consequences she had dodged for years. And every family in Oakwood Estates breathed a little easier knowing the queen of clipboard. Tyranny had finally been dethroned, not by angry neighbors, but by her own ego at a 10-year-old's birthday party.